Hi, Chef Jim here. So today we're going to make a basic vinaigrette. It's the height of summer. We have some really nice greens and some herbs that we've picked from the garden. Some of the vegetables are coming in. They're really looking amazing. So we're going to take a few minutes and make a really nice dressing to go with it. So we like to keep the dressings mostly simple. We don't want the dressing to be really the star of the show. We want all these amazing greens and vegetables that we have to be the star of the show. But we want the salad dressings like kind of like the backup band. They're in the background and they help keep things moving and they make the whole thing. They bring it all together. So you have the recipe, it's for basic vinaigrette, and I'm doing, underneath it has variations and notations, and I'm actually going to do kind of a variation of both of those. I'm going to do a Dijon vinaigrette with some fresh herbs from the garden. The addition of the prepared mustard, and the other thing that I'm adding to this recipe is a little bit of water, helps the emulsion stay. Now it's not going to be a permanent emulsion, it'll eventually separate, but it doesn't separate as quickly and it'll stay a little bit longer. I also have a little bit of lemon left over from when I made mayonnaise this morning, and I'm going to see if I can incorporate some of that acidity into my dressing as well. So I'm doing a basic 3-to-1 ratio. That's what you should notice when you're looking at this recipe. There is 3 cups of oil to 1 cup of vinegar, and that's the standard 3-to-1 ratio. So if you don't have a recipe for vinaigrette and you're somewhere and chef asks you, go make a quick vinaigrette, if you know that it's a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar, you can put together a passable vinaigrette with stuff that you find. So we have here, first thing we need to do is I need to get these herbs in a form where we can use them. So we have oregano, this is thyme, and that's tarragon. And that's from just right outside the door here. And I'm going to strip these off. I've already washed these. My little compost is behind me. These little thyme leaves. Strip a few of those. We don't need all of these. But the aromatic is really nice when these are very fresh. It just makes the whole room smell like fresh herbs. All right. So we have thyme and then oregano. This little oregano. I have several varieties of oregano in the garden. Mexican varieties, Italian varieties, these little small varieties. I have a golden oregano out front that's really very pretty, but it doesn't taste like anything. So the more you learn about herbs, you'll understand that some herbs, they're very, very pretty and they are edible, but others, they just have more flavor to them. All right, so I don't need a whole lot here. So that's all we're going to do. So here's my bowl. I'm going to mix it in right into my bowl here. So I have a little salt, just a little pinch. Pepper, again, a very small pinch of pepper. I'll adjust it later if I need to. And then this recipe, one of the things about this recipe that I noticed right off is that it calls for, in the Dijon variation, just an enormous amount of Dijon mustard, or what I think is an enormous amount of Dijon mustard. I would recommend that you start off with much less, and if you think it needs more, add more. If you add too much at the beginning, it's really hard to thin it out, and then you end up with a gallon of salad dressing that you don't really like. So sneak up on it, as I am prone to say. The other thing that's a complete Chef Jim-ism that I tell all of my classes is that recipes are wrong. They're all wrong, every single one of them. And the reason is, even my recipes that I write, and I rewrote this from the one in the book, they're all wrong because I don't know what ingredients you're going to have in front of you when you do this. You might want to do that Dijon, and all you have is like golden spicy brown mustard, or all you have is the yellow bright, what we call hot dog mustard. And you know what? That's okay if that's what you have. However, you're going to have to vary the amounts. So approach recipes in that way. If it doesn't look right to you, if it sounds a little off, it very well could be, just because it's a recipe that is published even in a textbook like what we have, Food and Wine Magazine, something you see on YouTube or on the Food Channel. Just because it's published by one of those people doesn't mean that it's right. So be skeptical of recipes, but have one. All right. I'm stepping down off my little pedestal now. So I'm going to take a little bit of the mustard. See, that's what it calls for, and this is what I'm putting in. I'm doing half the recipe. All right, so I'm going to put in, here's my vinegar. So I have my favorite whisk. Break everything up. Almost forgot my water. This is the addition to the recipe, and this will help give you a better emulsion. All right, so similar to what we did with the mayonnaise in that demo, I'm going to whisk and pour the oil at the same time, except here we really don't have any hope that it's going to form some kind of a permanent emulsion. The best that we're hoping for is a good temporary emulsion. So see, that's looking pretty good. All right. Now we're fully whisked. And it looks nice. It's starting to already separate. You can see right around the corners, but in the middle it's staying nice like that. So I would take this and put it in a tall bain-marie, and then I would grab my ladle. I have one right here. And then all I need to do throughout the day or throughout the shift is do that. And that's my 2-ounce ladle for my dressing. 2 ounces now might be too much. You know, you do half of it. That's 2 tablespoons right there. All right, so then I want to taste it. Now I made this with the mint oil. Made the mayonnaise with the jalapeno oil. I made this with the mint oil. And that tastes really nice. In fact, I'm just going to, this a little bit of lemon. Just a little bit. This olive oil, it doesn't have the bitter notes that we had with the other one. And then I'm going to taste it just one more time. And that's pretty good. I don't think I would even correct the salt on that. I would leave that be. I wish you could taste it. I would leave that be. And then the next step would be to put this in something that is more appropriate for service, not a bowl like this, more, like I said, a tall bain-marie. And then I would get the rest of my salad greens together and start constructing the salad. So that's your basic vinaigrette.